everybody, thanks for jumping on. Happy Friday to everybody. Good weekend coming up. Here with Trish Giassa out of Boulder, 35 years in the business. She's got a great story to tell. Stick around. It's going to be good. Hey, Trish, how are you?
Good, Jeff. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. Looking forward to the weekend. We got a big client party on Sunday. We are going to have a house full of people. We got about 30 kids coming. We got Santa.
Wow.
We got all kinds of stuff going on.
That sounds awesome.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be busy, but it's going to be fun. So anyway, no, things are good. How are you?
I am doing great. Looking forward to the weekend and the holidays ahead, and just starting a fantastic 2023.
2023. I'm gearing up for it. So yeah. Well, it's great to have you with us. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. You and your husband, Jay, you guys have a lot of things going on. So anyway, let's dive into your story a little bit. You've been in real estate for a long, long time. Let's talk about that. How long have you been in the business? 35 years, right?
Yeah, it's about 35
Roughly?
years,
Yeah.
plus or minus.
Yeah. Okay. How'd you get into real estate? Why real estate?
So I was in direct marketing and in New York, and my ex-husband was moving to Boulder, and so I came with him, of course, and there wasn't a job that I really wanted here, so I was looking for a new career. I interviewed our realtor, a great guy. And I also interviewed a travel agent or two because I love to travel. I'm like, maybe that's the new career. I realized really quick that travel, while I love to do it, when you're in travel business, you don't make a lot of money. So, and I work for a living, so I want to make the most out of it and chose real estate. So I joined a local franchise, if you will, the old 50-50. Actually, I think they took 60 and I got to keep 40, but I didn't know any better. And my broker, who Tony Waleski, I'm still friends with him to this day. He's an amazing guy. I love him. And he handed me a phone book. Now let's remember, I didn't know Boulder. I didn't know real estate. I didn't know anyone. So here I am in Boulder. He gives me the phone book. And because I'm Italian, he says, call everybody with an Italian surname. I said, well, what do I say? He said, well, ask them if they're thinking of buying or selling a home or know someone who is. I'm like, okay. So, when you don't know any better, it's so great because you don't have all these drunk monkeys on your shoulder saying, oh, nobody's going to answer the phone. They're going to yell at you, whatever. The other thing he told me is, look, you're going to get a lot of no's, maybe even some hangups. And, but, you should get one good person after 12 calls. So just don't give up. Keep calling till you get to that good person. So here I was, like usually in the evenings, checking off 1, 2, 3, sometimes it would go to 4 and I'd get somebody good. Sometimes I would get to 14 and I didn't have anybody yet, but I just kept at it and I never took it personally. Yeah. And, I went from nothing to a great business in less than 2 years.
Okay.
And at that time, RE/MAX of Boulder was new and blowing up, kind of like eXp is doing right now, right?
Yeah.
And, just an amazing group of people. And they invited me and a friend to join. So scared because still new to the business. Was 100%, no franchise fee at the time. And, but I wanted that 100%. Mm-hmm. And, but it was expensive. It was like, in the late 80s, $1,200 a month. It was a huge commitment, but we did it. Didn't look back. It was amazing. And then 6 years into it, my ex comes home again. He says, I quit my job. We're moving back to Jersey. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah.
And I didn't want to go. I mean, at that point I was close to, I think I was at 90,000 GCI in 1989 with an average price of 130. So by myself.
Wow. You were busy.
I was busy. I loved it. I was having a great time. I was learning a lot. So I went back to Jersey. What do you do? And proceeded to stay with Remax, which wasn't the same in Jersey as it was in Boulder.
Right.
It's very interesting. I didn't realize that it wasn't going to be the same. It's all about the local leadership with franchises. And but I stayed with it until we sort of got into a situation where it wasn't tenable anymore. And 9 of us left Remax to start our own boutique agency.
Okay.
And that was so exciting. The first year, right? Everything's new. We're all top producers. We had like 25% market share in our little market. We had a great time. But I had 8 women partners, great realtors, great ladies. Tough to do.
Well, and I imagine, if they're all good realtors, and again, the women, I could see where they're probably very type A personality, like just driven.
Well,
some. But I can see that it's hard. Partnerships can be challenging.
And that many, when everybody wanted to please everybody else, it just got real tough.
Yeah.
And I found myself spending more time on running the business and making less money because, well, I wasn't selling as much.
Right.
You can't be everything to everyone. So at the time, I didn't want to be an independent broker. Like, I knew what it was like having partners, and I didn't want to do it by myself either.
Right.
So I joined Keller Williams, and I did great. It was really a fantastic company to be with.
Sure.
I bled red. I signed up for Bold. I did Bold multiple times. I did the career visioning. I had MAPS mastery coaching. I went to every mega camp, family reunion, luxury retreat, you name it. I went to it. I dove in 150%, and it was great. Business blew up. Well, maybe not blew up. It took some time. And then in what was it, 2016 or so, I thought, I forgot to mention, Jason, my husband, joined my team I was growing a team because that's what you were told to do pretty much.
Right.
And I was going lock, stock, and barrel, right? And so I was not finding great team members at the time, and struggling. And as it turns out, you know what? I'm not a really good team leader from that perspective. I had to recognize that in myself.
Right.
But I could work with my husband, and he joined. And with what do we have? We had a virtual assistant about 20 hours a week, and we managed to get to like about $38 million, about 40 transactions. Okay. And it was awesome, but we didn't really have much of a life. There's a slogan we all hear, a life worth living. That wasn't a life worth living. Yeah. That was just work.
Time broke.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was trading my time for money and my husband's time for money. And so, and we did really well, but we were feeling time broke.
And you see that a lot, I think, in this business, but just in general. I think a lot of people out there working, they either have a lot of time, and no money, whatever, or they have a lot of money, but no time. They're working, 80, 90 hours a week to maintain that income, yeah. And so the lifestyle suffers for it. It can be challenging. Let me, real quick, how many years had you been in the business before when you joined up with those ladies to start your own brokerage? How long had you been in at that point?
Do you remember? So that was 18 years at Remax.
Okay. Okay. So you've been in a long time at that point.
Then 5 years we had Town and Country Properties.
Okay.
And then in 2008, I went to Keller Williams.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah. And
And
that
you built
was
it in,
14 years.
okay. So then you built a team over there. I got you. How big did your team get? Was it just, it is hard finding agents sometimes that have the same drive and passion you do. That was what I always found with when I built the team. I had some great agents that were with me for years, whatever. But I also went through a lot of agents because it's like,
Yeah.
man, 6 months later, it's like, there's leads stacking up. They're not calling, they're not you, whatever. I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's costing me money,
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
hard.
for sure. So we got to a team of 8 and 2 were staff. And,
Okay.
Staff wasn't easy to find either. In the New York
Yeah.
metro area,
Yeah.
people want to work in New York. Either they get a lot of money there or they're doing something exciting. Like you worked in LA, you get it, right? Somebody's
Yeah.
working for the movie industry or for the fashion industry or for one of the big direct, ad agencies or whatever. They don't want to work for a small team of realtors, right?
Right.
So that was a challenge, but we had a great assistant, and then we hired a director of operations as well. And but it just wasn't clicking. It wasn't working the way I wanted to work. And again, I found that my business suffered every time I hired someone because I was spending time with them to bring them up and to pour into them. And I had a lot of leads. So that's one of the things that I've always been really good at since the phone book days, right? Different ways, but I can generate leads pretty much out of anything. And, when Jason joined, he said his famous thing is like, he would just sweep up behind me and whatever fell, he would have these buyers, these great buyers, and he would sell them because, those were there. And that would have been a great business model for agents, but you had to work, at the same time.
Yeah. For sure. Well, and you mentioned something. I mean, I remember my first broker. I mean, he was very old school, 25 years in the business. Out of New York, actually. That was here in Colorado Springs, and I mean, his idea of getting leads was exactly that. Like, let's get out the white pages. I'll start in A, you start in Z. We'll meet in the middle. Cold calling. And I did a lot of that, and picked up some business from that. Whatever, but it was, knocking on doors. I did that one day. I never wanted
Me too. One day.
That was it. I'm like, I'm done with this. I ended up getting a website. I wanted to just try and automate some things. I just figured there's this smarter ways to do things. But I think too, it's a numbers game. The more sales of any kind, I think the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you're going to get to find people who are looking for whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's, real estate, whether it's selling, Girl Scout cookies. I mean, the more people you talk to, the more sales you're going to make. What would you say to some of the newer agents who've been in the business the last couple of years where things were just moving, and now we're in this shift? You've been through multiple different kinds of markets, as have I. What would be some advice you could give to people that might watch this that have been in the business a couple of years to really get their business, get it back to where they wanted or whatever? I just got off the phone right before we got on here with a lady. She's been in for 18 months. She's back on the East Coast, and she had a great first 12 months. She just went out and got a second job because she's scrambling right now, trying to figure out how to make ends meet because everything has slowed down so much for her and where she's at. She's trying to adjust and figure that out. So we had a good conversation. I'm actually going to get back on the phone with her here in a little bit. But what would you tell some of those agents, in this kind of market?
So a couple of things, and they're pretty simple things, right? First of all, forget what happened in the last 2 years. That's not normal. So get back to basics. Understand that, that it's not all about buyers or all about sellers. It's about putting together a reasonable transaction that is a win-win-win for everybody. Everybody's going to give something, but don't. I mentor at eXp, so I had one of my agents say, "Oh my God, the sky's falling in. I just got this inspection request. It's crazy." I looked at it. I said, "Not so crazy."
Yeah.
This is how you handle it. This is normal.
Right.
And, we worked it through. So that's all great. So again, go back to basics and learn how to do the business now.
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
don't do everything, right? There's 1,001 ways that you could lead generate, right? Gene Frederick's book is fabulous for that. So there's lots of ideas, and what works for me may not work for you or somebody else. So I don't like, for me, cold calling's easy. Door knocking, no way. Right.
Yeah.
So I would never tell somebody like me to go door knock, or you, right? Because it's not going to work if you're not, and you have to put yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, right? To do some of this stuff. But if it's so far out there that you're shaking inside and you don't want to do it, it's not going to be sustainable. So don't bother even trying it, and stick to like 2 or 3 lead generation systems. Like, are you going to do social media? Great. Pick one, become the expert. Are you going to do open houses? That's great too. Go online, go to a class, learn how to do a great open house and follow it to a T, and do so many of them, not just like 1 a week, but do 3, 4 a week.
Yeah.
Until you're great at it. And then once you've mastered like 2 lead generation systems and they run on their own pretty much, with minimal help, what you're doing, then you can add a 3rd. And then you should always be adding, perfecting something and adding something new. Like I remember before Google, I don't even know what year it was. Somebody told me about a website, you should get a website. I'm just like, really? I can get a website? And I got a website and I got great business out of it.
Right.
And then I learned how to use it to get more business. That was in addition to all my other lead generation systems that were already in place.
Right. It is a great time to sharpen the axe, sharpen your skills, become an expert, become a pro in this business, and I think, and consumers need that right now. They're trying to figure this out. Buyers are trying to figure it out. Sellers are trying to figure it out. There's a lot of misinformation out there, I think. And it is a chance to really shine in this market and become a pro, become the go-to person that people know, like, and trust. It's a great time to get that and gain some market share. We're going to see a lot of people leave the business. It's going to be interesting to see here at the end of the year how many people don't renew their licenses, with the board and stuff. But but there's definitely the good agents, whatever, the ones that have a drive and a desire to do it. You'll get it done and you'll figure it out and you shift and you adjust, and you learn new things, but you hone in on those skills and become an expert at a few things. Jack of all trades, master of none. That doesn't work very well in this business,
Right.
So
if you want to be paid as a professional, then you must be that professional.
Yeah, exactly. Right? What did you find over the years? You think back through it. I mean, again, you were time broke at one point. I get that. I've been there big time. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had along the way? As you built your business. I mean, what were some of the biggest obstacles that you've hit that you can think of?
The team building was a huge. That was my biggest obstacle, and one that I didn't really succeed at. I think all the others, education and networking and reaching out to people and asking for help, have alleviated all of the others where they didn't even get to be big challenges. I'll give you an example. There was a point where, and it was maybe it was like 15 years ago or so, I hadn't sold a home over $1 million. And so I was like, I need to sell something over $1 million. How do I go about that? And I sat down with a friend of mine who was actually the team leader at our office. And we talked about that. We put it in my plan. I always had a plan every single year. And, it was a challenge, but I'm not even sure how I happened to overcome it. That year I sold 3 properties at $1.2 million, $1.5 million, and $1.8 million. And it was just because of mindset, I think. And so I think any challenge can be met with enthusiasm from your mindset, from a place of abundance, from a place of you can do it, then you will. If you doubt yourself, then you're not. The other challenge that I had was just as much business as I was generating, I couldn't keep up with it. And literally when Jason said he was sweeping up the leads behind me, I know I was not serving as many buyers as I could have. And I was leaving money on the table. and I had to get help, somebody else to help take those buyers and serve them, and serve them to my standards and to their standards. And that was a challenge. Challenges are always just keeping up with what's new and using it well and not being distracted. I think focus is another place where we find this business is challenging. There's lots of shiny objects, people calling us, don't you want to do this, become an Instagram master or a TikTok, or there's a bazillion things, right? And just staying on your track. When I talk to agents who tell me they have a plan for 2023 and a budget, and I have a lot of respect for that, right? They're running a business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's a great point. People watching this, I mean, we're recording this here, we're on December 2nd. And so, if you haven't started a business plan yet for 2023, if you haven't written down your goals yet and be thinking that through, it's a great time to do it. It's important to do it. I think, the big agents, the big super successful agents, I mean, again, a lot of them, they had that done a month ago. And they're getting things in place right now. So January will kick in. We used to have really big Januaries. So many people would just I learned a lot. I had a part of my thing, I think, was just kind of doing the opposite of what a lot of people do. Everybody kind of pulled back on their marketing in December and, take half the month off, all that kind of stuff. I tended to ramp up things in December. And yes, the phone will slow down and stop ringing about the 15th, 16th of the month. But I remember thinking I was always going to have, I was just looking forward to December 26th. That week, I'm just going to chill, whatever. My phone would start blowing up. That pent up demand that had built up, buyers not looking through the holidays, but now the Christmas is over, and I'm telling you, boom. And we would hit it, and we'd have 4, 5, 6 closings, in January. Things that would come together, like that last week, or even here, at the beginning of this month. But I just found we always had a good start to the year, and it was because I was planning ahead, though, and working on things, November, December, big time, not just putting on the brakes and I'm going to take 2 months off or something.
Well, this is a business with a little bit of a lag, right? So if you want to have a successful January, you need to be working on it in December and November.
Yeah, for sure.
And so on and so forth.
For sure. Now, when did you see, how long ago did you see eXp? When did somebody reach out to you and show you eXp?
So that's not quite how it happened.
Okay.
So I like I said, I was at Keller Williams, loved them.
And you were really, top, what, 0.5% of Keller Williams?
Yeah. Out of like 90,000 agents at the time, or maybe 100. I have no idea, but.
Okay. A top 0.5%, that's huge.
Yeah. And I worked hard for it, loved it, and loved KW. So I moved to Boulder, and I said, okay, I'm just going to join a KW there. I mean, why would I think of anything else, right?
For sure.
Unfortunately, there isn't a KW right in Boulder. And so I started to think, why is that? And I looked into it, and then I started noticing that a couple of my colleagues, Sherry Elliott, Ron Armstrong, these are people that I knew and respected and admired, had teams, great businesses that I've known for years at KW. And I'm like, they're at this company called eXp. What the heck is it?
Right.
And I wasn't crazy about the name, to be honest.
Sure.
I mean, it's 3 letters. What's KW? 2 letters. I don't know why we get hung up on that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But I'm like, I didn't think Remax was such a great name, to be honest with you. I did love Town and Country Properties.
Yeah.
Because I named it myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So I reached out to Sherry, and I said, Sherry, what's eXp? Why'd you leave KW? What's going on? She says, oh, okay. And she told me about it. And I asked a lot of questions. And at the end of that call, I was like ready to sign up. I'm like, okay, where do I sign up? And Jason, of course, who's the engineer with the 35 patents and analyzes things, he says, time out. What are you doing? What's eXp? And so, we went through the same thing, and he looked at all the model and the data, and he did spreadsheets, and for a week he drove me crazy.
Oh my, the detail guy. Yeah.
Right? Like I'm ready to go and I'm waiting for him to, but you
The
know
guy
what?
we love at home inspections,
Yeah.
the guy that reads the entire, the closing goes for 3 hours. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was good that he did that.
Sure. For sure.
Because we're good yin and yang, right?
It's a good balance. Yeah.
I trust my instincts and he trusts his analysis and my
Right.
instincts and I trust his
Right.
analysis. So we do
It's
it.
a great combo.
It's a
Sure.
great combo. And so when he got done with it, he said, it doesn't make any sense to do anything different. And so we signed up and that was that.
Wow. When was that? How long ago? I don't know
So
even
that
how long
was
you've been at eXp.
almost like 4 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
And the reason I'm a little vague on that is twofold. Is one, I was still at KW in New Jersey. I was under contract in New Jersey and I had to be on both. It's not allowed. And it was cleared by legal. So, and that I got that done as soon as I could. But I was at both places for about a year. And also during that year, I was taking care of my mom.
Okay.
She's doing good now, but at the time she really needed, we moved her out of her home for 50 years. She had some health issues, whatever. And,
Right.
I was grateful to have the opportunity to be able to take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so then then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, what am I doing? But eXp has been wonderful. There's so much opportunity for collaboration and it's like a big warm hug. And, after all that time at Remax and Keller Williams, they both have great cultures.
Yeah.
No doubt. Our eXp is made up of those people who brought with them their own culture. And then Glenn Sanford, who is a blessing to this industry, has just improved on that and given us additional motivation and compensation to help each other out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not competitors.
Exactly. I mean, which is so surprising. When I got over here, I mean, again, I've worked from home for a long time. 2009, I think. I mean, I just, again, we were going through that shift. You're looking where every dollar's going and, making cuts and doing things. And we got through it all. But yeah, that's when I started working from home. And really haven't been back in an office since, as far as having office space, whatever. But I was really surprised after being here for just even a couple months. I'm like, wow, like I've got more relationships now with realtors than I've had ever in my 21 years of doing this. And it doesn't make sense because we're virtual.
Same. I know.
But it's like, I mean, just even like meeting you here, recently, and I don't know, going to the conferences and just we run into each other all the time. Now here locally, we're doing, everything from, top golf events to, happy hours to a lunch every other week to doing all kinds of stuff. We're getting together, and then we do all of our Zoom stuff, the virtual thing. We're just connecting in so many multiple different ways. But again, that collaboration, the way everybody's sharing things. And given, and just the better you do, the better we all do, the better our brand does, the better our stock does as a result. Like it's like everybody working together at a level that I have not seen before, and Keller Williams has a great culture with that. I mean, they really do. I was there for 5 years. I loved it. I have no issues with Keller Williams. I mean, they have a great culture. A lot of companies do, but
Yes.
I've been blown away by this one. I really have. So
Me
that's been a
too.
big thing for you. Yeah.
And for me, another thing that, finding the Freedom Team has been just such a huge blessing because, Sherry, my sponsor, retired. She did so well by being an Icon award winner and, her stock and all that. And she was able to actually retire with a great income and a great, financial foundation that she can spend time playing golf. She's playing a lot of golf and a lot of time with her granddaughter. And I think she's about to have another grandchild. So good for her.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I want to be part of a tribe. That's just who I am. And I met Kelly at Shareholder Summit. And then I just got enveloped with so much love from the Freedom team. And it's like, now you guys are my tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We got a great group. We have a really great group. Everybody working together. That, you know, again, it's been awesome. You know, and that name, I say it all the time. I mean, we really thought long and hard coming up with that name, Freedom Team, because it's just, I think we all think we're going to get that when we get in this business. But if you build a business that's doing pretty significant volume, there's no freedom left. I mean, it's just, here's what happens. And you experience that being time broke. I was time broke back in the day. Oh my gosh. I mean, and I built a team thinking that would help me with my leverage, but I was busier than ever with my team. I still had all my own deals going, but now I'm working with them and training them. And, you know, my phone's ringing because they got questions about their deals and different things. And just, you know, and I wanted to, they were very successful. We had a great team, but man, it did not leverage me the way I thought it would. You know, I was busier than ever with that team. So it's been nice being over here. And, you know, I've got a team now, but it's a modern team, an eXp team. It's just such a better fit, such a better model to have a life, you know, that's so.
It's the best. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's not how many houses you sold. It's how much life did you live?
Yeah.
Right. And I love the fact that I can leave some of this behind. Whereas when I go sell a home, you know, as soon as I go to closing, I better have another one lined up. It's very transactional based. Now I'm working for my future, and to be able to, you know, leave it to charity, to family. That's it. That's a really huge deal.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Well, how has eXp helped to solve some of those challenges that you had, or how is it helping to solve? I mean, you know, I know I'm not where I want to be yet with this. I got a long way to go. We're still growing. I'm excited about it. I love where we're going. We've got a good thing going, but man, there's big things ahead. You know?
Yeah, I don't have to worry about the foundational basics yet at this point. My goal is to, of course, and you should see my vision board, you know, that ski house in the mountains and that jet card, because I can't stand flying Frontier or coach on a long flight, and stuff like that. Those are achievable, and it doesn't take that much to do that. And the best part about that, though, is that I feel like because I feel so grateful to be part of this company, I want to share that with others.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to go back to KW again, because I think it was great that when I first joined KW, I said, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? You know, like it was such a great change, and change is hard. When you're making the change. But once I did it, I was like, I wish I'd done this sooner. And I feel 150% like that about eXp. Like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
Instead of getting the stock at $5, I could have had it at $1.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's Sherry's story. I know that's a big part of her story. I mean, my goodness. I mean, yeah.
Right.
I need to do an interview with her because she has a great story. At some point do that, but yeah, for sure. Well, any last things you want to wrap up with? Anything you want to throw out there at all? Come to mind?
Just to reiterate a couple of things. One is always have a plan.
Yeah.
So you can plan to succeed, whatever it is you're doing. To keep it simple and become a master or a professional at whatever it is you do, and to take time to be open to new opportunities and have a great life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think too, you know, so much of how we're going to succeed in this next year, I mean, so much of it, it's a head game.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's why I got all these books over here behind me. You know, I mean, it's just, I'm constantly reading stuff, but I remember my first broker, I walked in day one of real estate and he hands me Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill,
cool. You know, and it sat on the shelf for a while. And then I went to this Craig Proctor conference 6 months after I got licensed, wanted to be around all these guys. And one of the first things they said was, you know, it was in Craig's, when I joined his coaching program, here's this big package that comes in the mail. And what book is in there? Think and Grow Rich. I'm like,
oh, wow.
I got to read this book, you know? And so I did. And it got me going on that journey of personal development. And so much of this right over here, that's what it is. It's just, and it is a great time right now for people, again, to hone in on skills and to grow yourself and to grow this, because again, this business can take you on a ride up here.
It's a simple business, but it's tough. It really is.
Yeah. And everything you said, I mean, you had some great things to share. I mean, and I think don't get so caught up in the craziness and all the work and all the business and building all these things that you end up not having a life to live, because at the end of it all, it's not going to be worth it. That's the thing I love about this model is when you're getting paid in multiple ways for what you're going to do anyway.
Right.
It can free you up to actually have a life. We just got back from Italy, and man, what a great trip. Can't wait to
I saw those pictures. Oh my God.
We had fun. We had fun, good food and good times, a lot of laughs, built some great memories, but that's what it's about.
Yeah, it really is.
It is. So
that's life.
For sure. And it can be hard if you're not setting it up right and building it right. So build it right, and you can live a life that a lot of people just dream about living. So anyway, well, Trish, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know we put this together kind of last minute, but I've been wanting to do it for a while. I've seen you do a couple other interviews. I'm like, I need to get Trish on here and hear her story. You had some great things to share. So,
well, Jeff, thank you so very much for having me on, and I really enjoyed the interview, and I enjoy, hanging out with you. I can't wait to see you soon. And thanks again for the opportunity to share my story.
For sure. Well, I appreciate it very much. So, guys, thank you very much. If you have any questions for either of us, put them in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We will definitely get back to you with an answer. You can reach out to either Trish or myself. We can help you. If you haven't seen eXp, if you know Trish, give her a call. Take a look at it. It's worth, you don't know what you don't know. So at least look at it. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, great. Either way is fine, but you need to at least look and get the information, see why we're growing and why we're doing what we're doing. But we appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend. Trish, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you.